happy Tuesday. So this morning I had a huge insight. So I said, let me go and do this vlog before I head in to the workhouse. So the title of today's message is, Are you empowered? So I say that because last night I had this like super weird dream, and I was just like, this is so uncomfortable. And like, in the past I've had some anxiety around this particular issue, but so I'm like, this is just so weird. So this morning I'm meditating, right? And so I'm meditating, and then it just comes to me, that when we're empowered, we have a choice. Because in my dream I was like, yo, I'm done. I was like, I'm done. You know? But what I realized was that it wasn't necessarily about that, right? Like that wasn't the issue. And this is the thing, this is just in my world. This is what I believe to be true. Is that when we have dreams, sometimes they show up in weird ways to wake us up, right? Like the dream I had a couple weeks ago, I was like, "Oh my God, I died!" But really, what I think it showed up for me was because it showed me that, okay, it's time to get your affairs in order. It's time to make sure that your family is taken care of, and then also just to appreciate life, right? So I think the purpose of that dream, and even when I was meditating, I realized, I said, "Are you empowered?" And I think it's a very unique question, because this is the thing. Like, I took etymology when I was in high school, and the prefix of empowered, it represents in. So empowered, essentially, it means in your power. Are you in your power? And so a couple things came up for me from that. So the first one was personal responsibility and accountability. And so when I say that, I'm speaking to the fact that we are 100% responsible for everything that shows up in our life. Like, we are the creators of our life. Like, nothing is happening to us. We are not victims, and we have to own that responsibility. That we're 100% responsibility for what shows up in our life, and then also accountability. Because when I think about the game changer in terms of personal growth, was when I got honest and accountable. you know and so I think that's a way in which we become empowered, because no longer do we sit back and victim and say that, oh, all this that is around me. At some point we have to look and say, how have I created this? And I think that was the game change. That was the big game changer. That's a big shift, to shifting from disempowered to empowered. And then the second one was the big one, was we have a choice. We have a choice in our lives. And I think sometimes, or at least I find in my world, and it's just my opinion, is that sometimes, things happen, we hit that wall, and we get stuck, right? And we act as if we don't have a choice. Now, in no way am I saying when things happen and you have feelings about something that you do not look in and you try to figure out, where is this stemming from, like, where is this coming from. But what I am saying is, after we get past that, what is our next move? What are we going to do about it? We have choices, people. We are 100% responsible and accountable for everything that shows up in our life. So the big part of that is, with accountability and responsibility, we have choices. We get to choose. So if I don't like something, I have a choice. I can do something about it. I can change it, because I think sometimes when we hit that wall, as I was just speaking to, and we act as if there's nothing we can do about it, we can. I believe in you. You can. So if at this moment you're hitting the wall and you're saying, yeah, this just freaking sucks, and I don't know, I feel like there's nothing, like, this is just happening to me, and what am I? Then that's the question. What am I going to do? And I think that's when we're empowered enough to say, I have a choice here. What is my next move? Because the thing with choosing is, we have to choose what is best for us. You know, and I realized in the past that a lot of decisions I made were based on what I'm supposed to do, what I feel obligated to do. And essentially, it has to be the choices that we make for ourselves. That's the part of in your power. In my power, what is the best choice for me? And that's not selfish. That's not selfish. It's almost like the cup. When we speak about self-love, I can't give from an empty cup. So this is the other thing about choices, right? Like, even if sometimes we have the anxiety about making the choice. Even if you make a choice and it maybe doesn't necessarily play out the way that you would like, this is a thing, is that it was the choice that you made, and you could be fine with that. Whereas if we flip the chart, and sometimes we say, well, I'm gonna do this because I feel obligated, or I'm choosing this because, you know, what I think someone else wants, or whatever that is, the obligation piece, then it's like, oh well, we wanna look outward and maybe blame. But if it's a choice that you made for yourself, for you, an empowered choice in your power, then it's alright. I can live with that because I'm responsible and accountable for the decisions and the way that I live my life and the way that I show up in the world. And so the big piece for today, when we start talking about being empowered, being in your power, is that number one, please believe we are 100% responsible for all that shows up in our life, and we're responsible and accountable for our own lives. Like, no one can make decisions for us. We have to make those decisions for ourselves. What feels right for me? And then secondly, with a personal responsibility and accountability becomes choice. It opens your world up because you realize that you have choices. I don't have to stay in something if I don't want to. I don't have to, if I don't like this, or if I don't like this job, or whatever it is. We have choices, and so the choices are limitless, and it's all about what feels right for you. So be empowered today. Understand that you have choices. Be empowered, be in your power. So that's my big takeaway for today. So please subscribe, please share, because guess what, baby? It's all love. But it's the Dorky Jock signing off, baby. And I'm out.